The red star, Kepler 442, glowed quietly in the emptiness of space. Most civilizations in the galaxy dismissed it as worthless. Its planets were too cold, too barren, and too distant from the bustling trade routes linking the great alien empires. For 3 centuries, no one had bothered to investigate this forgotten corner of the cosmos. But they were mistaken. Far below the rocky surface of the second planet, millions of humans lived and labored in enormous subterranean cities. On the surface, massive machines gradually transformed the air and water, shaping the planet to resemble Earth. Lush greenery now spread where only dust and stone had once existed. Rivers ran where ancient craters had scarred the ground. The humans named their transformed home Haven, and it truly lived up to that name. Elena Rodriguez stood on the observation deck of New Geneva, Haven's largest city. Through the transparent dome overhead, she watched artificial auroras ripple across the night sky. The lights were more than decorative. They were part of the planet's new magnetic field, crafted by human engineering to shield the world from lethal radiation. Elena was the great-great-granddaughter of Dr. Elena Vasquez, one of the original settlers who had journeyed on the ship New Horizon. That had been 3 centuries earlier, when Earth was dying and humanity was torn by endless wars. The 50,000 passengers aboard that vessel had sought a fresh start, far from the chaos of their old world. Morning shift is ready to begin terraforming. Sector 12, said Marcus, Elena's assistant. Only 25, he was young but, like all Haven-born humans, trained from birth in advanced science and engineering. On Haven, every individual had to understand the technology that sustained them. Their very survival depended on it. Elena nodded and made her way to the control center. Holographic displays tracked the progress of terraforming across the planet. Colossal atmospheric processors steadily enriched the air with oxygen. Underground reactors supplied clean energy to cities housing more than 200 million people. Orbital shipyards constructed vessels with capabilities unseen anywhere else in the galaxy. Humanity on Haven had not wasted their 3 centuries of isolation. While the great alien empires grew complacent with their aging technology, humans had been compelled to innovate or perish. They had forged materials stronger than anything the galaxy had ever known. Their computers could process information faster than the finest alien artificial intelligences. Their vessels could navigate space in ways that seemed impossible. But, perhaps most crucially, they had mastered cooperation. Old Earth had been fractured by nations, religions, and ideologies. Haven thrived on a single purpose: survival and prosperity for all humans. Admiral Sarah Chen Okafor moved through the corridors of Orbital Station Alpha, the largest platform in the Kepler 442 system. From a distance, the station resembled a colossal ring encircling Haven, but appearances were deceiving. Concealed. Within its structure were weapons capable of fending off entire fleets. The station also functioned as a shipyard, research center, and early warning post. Sarah was a descendant of Admiral Marcus Chen, one of the original military leaders who had steered the colony ship to safety. For generations, the Chen family had served Haven's defense forces, always preparing for the possibility that their long isolation could end. "Admiral, we're detecting something unusual," reported Lieutenant Commander Jackson from the sensor station. The young officer's tone was calm, yet Sarah sensed the tension beneath it. "Long-range sensors indicate a large fleet approaching from Zephyrian space?" Sarah felt her heartbeat quicken, though her expression remained composed. This was the moment they had been trained for. "How many ships and estimated time to arrival?" 12 ships, all heavy cruiser class or larger. At current velocity, they will reach the outer system in roughly 18 hours. Admiral Sarah studied the tactical display outlining the incoming fleet. The Xerian Empire was one of the galaxy's most aggressive powers. They expanded by seizing empty systems and expelling any occupants. Under galactic law, they had the right to do so if a system was not officially claimed by a recognized government. Naturally, the Galactic Council had never acknowledged Haven's government because they had never known it existed. Send a message to Chancellor Santos, Sarah instructed. Inform her we have visitors approaching who likely don't realize we exist. Chancellor Maria Santos had been elected leader of Haven just 2 years earlier. Young for such a role at only 43, she possessed the intelligence and fortitude the colony required. Her office was in the government district of New Geneva, in a building modest in appearance but containing some of the most advanced technology in the galaxy. When Admiral Chen Okafor's message arrived, Maria was meeting with the heads of Haven's key departments. Dr. Kim Walsh led the science division responsible for their advanced technology. General Robert Hayes commanded the planetary defense forces. Economic Director Lisa Park oversaw trade between Haven's numerous cities and orbital stations. "So it's finally happening," Maria said, after reviewing the Admiral's report. 3 centuries in hiding, and now we must decide what kind of neighbors we intend to be. Dr. Walsh leaned forward. "Our technology is far superior to the Zaharians. Anything they bring we could easily defend against if they try to attack. The real question is whether we even want to reveal ourselves." General Hayes added, "We could conceal our cities and let them assume the system is empty. They might just survey and depart." Maria rose and walked to the window overlooking the bustling city. Humans of all ages moved through the streets, living peacefully. Children played in parks filled with Earth-adapted plants. Adults worked in labs and factories producing marvels the galaxy had never seen. "We've spent 3 centuries building something extraordinary here," she said, "but we always knew this day would come. We can't remain hidden forever, and I don't believe we should. The galaxy sees humans as weak and primitive. Perhaps it's time to demonstrate what we've truly achieved." Turning back to her advisors, she said, "Prepare our ships and defenses, but do not conceal them. If the Zephyrians intend to claim our home, let them see precisely what they face. Notify all departments. First contact protocol is now in effect." As news of the approaching fleet spread through Haven, the populace remained composed. They had been preparing for this moment their entire lives. In schools, children studied the galaxy beyond their system and potential challenges. In factories, workers inspected defensive production lines. In orbital shipyards, engineers finalized vessels designed to astonish any who laid eyes on them. The humans of Haven were no longer desperate refugees who had fled Earth 3 centuries prior. They were a civilization that had transformed a dead world into a paradise. They wielded technology that seemed magical. Most importantly, they possessed something the great alien empires had long forgotten: the determination to defend their home and the unity to stand against any threat. The red star Kepler 442 continued to burn quietly in space, but its secret was on the verge of being exposed. The galaxy was about to discover that humanity had not been idle in their remote corner of the cosmos. They had grown stronger, sharper, and more formidable with each passing year. The Zephyrian fleet approached, expecting to find empty worlds ripe for conquest. Instead, they were about to face a force that would shatter everything they thought they knew about humans and their place in the galaxy. Captain Veltar stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Imperial survey ship Dominant Will. The colossal vessel stretched over 2 kilometers and carried enough firepower to obliterate entire cities. Behind him, 11 other Zetherian warships maintained perfect formation. This was meant to be a routine mission: survey the vacant Kepler 442 system, claim it for the Empire, and begin colonization preparations. The Zephyrians were a proud warrior race, expanding their empire by subjugating weaker species. They were tall, with tough gray skin and 4 clawed arms. Their eyes detected heat signatures, and their minds were naturally skilled at tactics. For over 1,000 years, they had extended their dominion, and no species had ever resisted successfully. "Captain, we're approaching the target system," reported Lieutenant Scon from the sensor station. "Initial scans show—" "Wait, that's impossible." The captain's claws clicked on the metal floor as he moved closer. "What is it, Lieutenant?" "Sir, I'm detecting massive energy signatures throughout the system. Artificial structures orbit the second planet, and the planet itself shows signs of terraforming. According to our records, this system should be uninhabited." Veltar's four eyes narrowed as he examined the data. Cities, orbital stations, and ships unmistakably belonged to an advanced civilization. This shouldn't exist. Could it be a lost colony of one of the major powers? He asked his intelligence officer. "No, sir. The tech signatures don't match anything in our databases. The power sources are entirely unknown, and the ship designs are unlike anything we've encountered." A flicker of unease touched Veltar. In 30 years of military service, he had never faced such a situation. Unknown civilizations were exceptionally rare in the explored galaxy. Most species had been contacted centuries ago and were members of the Galactic Council. "Send a standard hail," he commanded. "Let's identify these people." The communication came through clearly, and the face that appeared on the main screen made Veltar's. Said in perfect galactic standard, "You are in violation of our territorial space. Please state your intentions." Veltar recovered from his shock and allowed himself a hint of amusement. This had to be some kind of joke. Humans were barely capable of spaceflight, and they certainly did not have colonies beyond their home system. "Human, you have no authority here," he said, extending his claws to display weapon readiness. "The Zephyran Empire claims this system under Galactic Council Resolution 2847. You will evacuate immediately or be removed by force." The human's expression remained entirely unchanged. She regarded him as though he were a child making unreasonable demands. "Captain," she said calmly, "I'll give you 1 hour to leave our system. This is your only warning." Veltar was so taken aback by her audacity that he laughed, a harsh sound echoing through the bridge. His crew also showed their disbelief in various ways. The notion that a single human colony could threaten a Zephyrian battle fleet was absurd. "Close the channel," he ordered. "Prepare to move toward the second planet. We'll show these humans what happens when they interfere with the Empire." As his fleet advanced deeper into the system, Veltar felt utterly confident. His 12 ships carried firepower capable of leveling continents. His soldiers were the finest warriors in the galaxy. These bewildered humans would surrender quickly once confronted with the Empire's might. Yet as the fleet neared Haven, anomalies began to appear. Zephyran sensors detected energy signatures that defied logic. Space around the planet seemed filled with objects that flickered in and out of existence like phantoms. Most disturbing. Of all, every attempt to scan the human ships resulted in total system failures. "Captain, our targeting systems are malfunctioning," reported Weapons Officer Kovacs. "Every attempt to lock onto one of their vessels crashes our computers, forcing a restart." "That's impossible," Veltar snarled. "Our systems are safeguarded by the galaxy's finest security." "Sir, you need to see this," called the sensor officer. On the main screen, the space around Haven suddenly erupted with thousands of energy signatures. Orbital stations that had seemed small and harmless revealed themselves as massive defense platforms. Ships that had appeared to be cargo vessels transformed into sleek warships, faster than anything in the Zayan fleet. Most shocking of all, the planet itself began to glow. Energy fields previously invisible now shone brightly to the naked eye. The entire world was enveloped in a network of defensive systems that made the Empire's strongest fortifications appear like children's toys. "How many ships do they have?" Veltar demanded. Lieutenant Scon's voice trembled as he answered, "I'm counting over 300 vessels, sir, all moving into attack formation." The captain felt his confidence waver. 300 ships exceeded most fleets. Yet he still believed quantity was secondary to quality, and Zephyrin vessels were the most advanced in the galaxy. "All ships, prepare for battle," he commanded. "Target their largest vessels and fire on my order." But when the command was given, nothing occurred. His weapons officer pressed the firing controls repeatedly, yet the ship's massive energy cannons remained silent. "Sir, all weapon systems are offline," Kovacs reported, panic creeping into his voice. "The computers indicate everything is functioning normally, yet nothing will fire." Across the bridge, other officers were reporting similar malfunctions. Navigation was failing. Communications were being jammed. Even life support systems were acting erratically. "Captain," came a new voice over the communication system. It was the human chancellor again, but now her image appeared on every screen throughout the ship. "I believe you're beginning to understand your situation. Your weapons will not work because we won't allow them. Your ships cannot escape because we control your engines, and your crews are becoming anxious as they witness what's happening around them." Veltar stared at his main view screen, his heart frozen. The human ships were not merely surrounding his fleet, they were toying with it. Vessels moved like living creatures, weaving between his massive warships, approaching close enough to graze the hulls before spinning away. It resembled children playing around slumbering giants. "Your technology is impressive," the human continued. "But you are wielding tools we helped create 3 centuries ago. Everything you employ, we comprehend. Everything you attempt, we can counter. And right now, we are recording this entire engagement and broadcasting it across the galactic communication network." The captain's worst fears materialized as his communications officer confirmed that their humiliation was visible across the galaxy. Every government, military, and citizen with access to the galactic net could witness the mighty Zephyrin Empire rendered utterly powerless against a human colony. "What do you want?" he asked at last, pride shattered. "I want you to deliver a message," Chancellor Santos replied. "Inform the galaxy that the Haven Republic claims the Kepler 442 system under the ancient right of inhabitation. We have been here for 3 centuries. This is our home, and we will defend it against anyone attempting to seize it." The human ships began to draw away from the Zayan fleet, but maintained control and observation. "You have 24 hours to leave our system," the Chancellor stated. "After that, we will consider you hostile invaders and respond accordingly. Captain, I suggest you use your time wisely. The galaxy is about to learn some very important lessons about humanity." The transmission ended, leaving Veltar and his crew to face their defeat. In under an hour, everything they thought they knew about humans and their place in the galaxy had been proven entirely wrong. Fleet Admiral Sarah Chen Okafor observed the Zephyrin fleet from the command center of Orbital Station Alpha. The alien vessels hovered motionless in space, their weapons disabled by Haven's cyber warfare systems. Around her, dozens of officers monitored the situation with calm precision. This was the moment they had been trained for their entire lives. "Admiral, Captain Veltar is attempting to contact his home fleet," reported Lieutenant Commander Jackson from the communications station. "His messages are blocked by our signal jammers, and he is growing increasingly desperate." Sarah nodded and turned to the tactical display showing all ship positions in the system. The humans had revealed only a portion of their true military power, yet it was already more than sufficient to contain the Zephyrian threat. 300 ships are surrounding the alien fleet while thousands more remain concealed throughout the system. "Any attempts to break free?" she asked. "No, ma'am. Their engines remain under our control. We are keeping them in stable. Orbit around Haven while we decide the next steps." The Admiral allowed herself a small smile. The Zephyrians had anticipated encountering a primitive human colony that would surrender without resistance. Instead, they had discovered a military force capable of neutralizing their entire fleet without firing a single shot. Dr. Kim Walsh entered the command center carrying a datapad filled with sensor readings from the alien ships. As Haven's Chief Science Officer, she had studied Zephyrian technology for years, preparing for precisely this scenario. Sarah, their ships are exactly what we expected, she reported. The Empire has been using the same fundamental designs for over 2 centuries. Their weapons are powerful but predictable. Their defenses are strong but rigid. They've grown so confident in their superiority that innovation stopped long ago. And our cyber attack? Complete success, Sarah replied. Their computer systems are built on principles humans developed and abandoned 50 years ago. We know every flaw, every backdoor, every vulnerability. If we wanted, we could take permanent control of their entire fleet. Sarah considered this carefully. Haven's leadership had agreed their first contact with the galaxy should send a clear message. Humanity was not weak and would not be bullied. But they also wished to avoid triggering a war that could engulf the entire galaxy. "Open a channel to Chancellor Santos," she ordered. The Chancellor's face appeared on the main screen, transmitted from her office in New Geneva. Behind her, Sarah could see the bustling activity of Haven's government as they managed the crisis. "Maria, we have the situation under control." "Up here," Sarah reported, "the Zephyrian fleet is completely neutralized. No casualties on either side." "Good. How are they handling their reality?" "About as well as you'd expect. Their captain is angry, confused, and probably submitting reports his superiors won't believe. But I think he's starting to grasp that this isn't some trick." Chancellor Santos considered this. "Admiral, I want you to give them a demonstration. Show exactly what our ships can do and make sure the galaxy is watching." Sarah understood instantly. This wasn't merely about defeating the Zephyrian fleet. It was about proving to every government in the galaxy that humanity had become a force worthy of respect. "Understood, Madam Chancellor. We'll make sure they receive the message." The Admiral turned to her tactical officer. "Commander, Hayes, select 12 of our newest corvettes for a demonstration flight. I want them to display everything these ships can do without revealing our most advanced capabilities." "Yes, ma'am. Which flight group should I assign?" "Give it to Lightning Squadron. They've been waiting for a chance to shine." Within minutes, 12 human ships detached from the main fleet and advanced toward the disabled Zephyrian vessels. To the aliens, these ships appeared impossible. Smaller than conventional warships, they moved with grace and speed that defied physics. Their hulls seemed to shift and shimmer as they flew, rendering them nearly invisible against the backdrop of space. Captain Veltar watched from his bridge as the human ships approached. A military officer for 30 years, he had seen the best vessels every major power could produce. But these ships were unlike anything he'd encountered. "How fast are they moving?" he asked his sensor officer. "Sir, our instruments indicate speeds that should be impossible for ships this size. They're accelerating at rates that would crush any crew, yet maintain perfect formation." As the human ships drew closer, they began demonstrating their capabilities. They maneuvered in complex patterns no other species could replicate, passing within meters of each other at incredible speeds. They moved vertically and horizontally, forwards and backwards, even spinning while maintaining velocity. But the true shock came when one ship vanished. One moment it was clearly visible on all sensors. The next, it was gone, as if never present. "Where did it go?" Veltar demanded. "I don't know, sir. It simply disappeared. No energy signature, no warp field, nothing." Seconds later, the ship reappeared inside the Zephyrian formation, gliding calmly between 2 massive cruisers. The vessel was so close its crew could have touched the alien hulls, yet it arrived there without triggering alarms or defenses. "Sir," the weapons officer reported fearfully, "that ship is now adjacent to our main reactor. One shot, and we could be destroyed." But the human ship did not attack. Instead, it transmitted a simple message. "Hello, Captain. We thought you might like to see what our scouts can do." The ship vanished again, rejoining its squadron, leaving the Zephyrian crew doubting their own senses. More demonstrations followed. Human ships displayed invisibility, unmatched speed, and instantaneous relocation. Weapons cut through the strongest armor like paper, shields absorbed limitless energy, and coordination was flawless. The 12 ships moved as if governed by a single mind, executing maneuvers requiring split-second timing and absolute trust. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission from the human admiral," reported the communication officer. Admiral Chen Okafor's face appeared on the screen, radiating confidence. This was a military leader fully aware of her force's strength. "Captain, I hope you've enjoyed our demonstration. What you've seen is a mere fraction of Haven's defensive capability. We have ships faster, weapons stronger, and defenses more robust than anything you've witnessed." She paused, letting the message sink in. "We are not interested in conquest. We wish to live in peace and develop our civilization without interference. However, we will defend our home and people against any threat." Her expression grew serious. "I am releasing control of your ships. You may leave our system and return to your empire. When you report, include everything you've witnessed. The galaxy must understand humanity is no longer weak or defenseless." Veltar felt his systems return as the humans ended their cyber attack. Engines responded, weapons worked, and communications reached beyond the local area. "All systems are back to normal. Full control restored," his tactical officer reported. Yet Veltar knew humans could retake control at will. They had demonstrated technology that made his fleet appear antiquated. Most alarming, they had done so without anger or cruelty, powerful enough to annihilate him, yet choosing restraint. "Set course for home," he ordered quietly. "Prepare a full report for Imperial Command. They need to know what we encountered here." As the Zephyrian fleet departed, Admiral Chen Okafor turned to her staff with satisfaction. The first test was complete. Humanity had excelled. "Admiral, we're receiving communications from across the galaxy," Lieutenant Commander Jackson reported. "It seems everyone witnessed our demonstration." "Good. Let them contemplate what they've learned. Prepare our deep space monitoring. Systems. I suspect many more visitors soon." An emergency session of the Galactic Council convened in chaos. Representatives from 50 species crowded the Great Assembly Hall on Thessia Prime, all speaking at once about the shocking news from Kepler 442. Footage of humanity's total domination of a Zephyrian battle fleet had spread faster than any government could contain. Council leader Morton of the Altarian Federation called for order, his blue-scaled hands raised high. Altarians were renowned for diplomacy and composure, yet even Morton appeared shaken. "Fellow representatives," he began, his voice clear through the hall's sound system, "we are here to discuss what may be the most significant development in galactic politics in over a millennium. The species long considered primitive, humans, has revealed military capabilities surpassing our highest expectations. Ambassador Keth Ara of the Zephyrian Empire stood to address the council. Her gray skin was darker than usual, a sign of deep anger among her people. The four-armed warrior looked ready to challenge someone to personal combat. "The Empire's fleet was not defeated," she declared loudly. "It was humiliated. Our ships were disabled without a single shot fired. Our weapons were turned off like children's toys, and the entire encounter was broadcast across the galaxy as if we were performers in some entertainment program." Murmurs of concern rippled through the assembly. The Zephyrian Empire was one of the most formidable military powers in the galaxy. If they could be defeated so easily, what did that imply for everyone else? Dr. Vexnol of the Corvani Scientific Union requested permission to speak. The Corvani were a species of brilliant researchers responsible for much of the galaxy's technological foundation. "Honorable representatives, I have analyzed the sensor data from the Zephyrian encounter. The technology demonstrated by these humans is not just advanced, it represents fundamental breakthroughs in physics we once thought impossible." The scientist activated a holographic display, showing images captured from the human ships. There, vessels appeared to manipulate gravity in ways our best theories claimed could not exist. They demonstrated faster-than-light travel without traditional warp fields. Most alarming of all, they displayed complete mastery over computer systems previously considered impossible to hack. Ambassador Telron of the Harmony Collective raised a tentacle to speak. The collective was known for its peaceful nature and deep understanding of technology. Dr. Vexnell, are you suggesting that human technology surpasses our own? I'm suggesting it's completely different, the scientist replied. For centuries, the galaxy's species have developed along predictable technological paths, refining and optimizing existing designs. Humans, however, appear to have begun from entirely different fundamental principles. The Assembly shuddered at this revelation. Every major corporation, military force, and government relied on technology that might now be obsolete. Economic Representative Zuran of the Trade Federation stood urgently. If human technology is truly superior, what does this mean for galactic commerce? Our entire economy revolves around advanced systems and components. It means, said Ambassador Kira grimly, that every military may require complete reconstruction. Our weapons, ships, and defenses could be useless against foes with human-level technology. Council leader Morin struggled to maintain order as debates erupted. Some representatives demanded immediate military action against the human colony. Others proposed diplomatic solutions. A few even suggested offering alliances to gain access to human technology. Amid the chaos, a new transmission arrived from Kepler 442. Chancellor Santos appeared on the main display, speaking from her Haven office. The human leader remained calm and confident, unaffected by the storm of controversy she had ignited. Honorable representatives of the Galactic Council, she began. I understand that recent events have caused concern throughout the galaxy. I wish to address these concerns directly. The assembly fell silent, every being focused on her words. The Haven Republic has existed peacefully in the Kepler 442 system for 3 centuries. We have never attacked, threatened, or interfered with galactic politics. We simply wish to live and develop our civilization. She paused. However, if a military fleet enters our space with intent to force us from our homes, we will defend ourselves. We have that right under every law and treaty governing civilized behavior. Ambassador Cathera interrupted. Human, your colony was never registered with the Galactic Council. By law, unregistered settlements have no standing. Chancellor, Santos's expression did not waver. Ambassador, we were never asked to register. Your council never contacted us, never offered membership, never even acknowledged our existence. We have been here for 3 centuries, building our civilization and harming no one. That, I believe, grants us certain rights. Her tone sharpened. Let me be clear. The Haven Republic formally claims sovereignty over the Kepler 442 system. Under the ancient right of inhabitation, we have transformed dead worlds into living ones. We have built cities where there was emptiness. This is our home, and we will defend it. Economic Representative Zorton asked the question everyone was thinking, what do you want from the galaxy, Chancellor Santos? We seek recognition as a sovereign power, with the right to exist in peace. We want trade with species willing to treat us as equals. We want to contribute positively to galactic civilization. The Chancellor smiled slightly before her final statement. But understand this, the days of treating humanity as primitive are over. We are not asking, we are informing. Any government wishing to test our resolve is welcome to try. The transmission ended, leaving the Galactic Council in stunned silence. In the following days, political chaos grew. Stock markets crashed as investors realized their tech companies might be obsolete. Military commanders quietly updated threat assessments, elevating human space from minimal to maximum concern. The Zephyrian Empire faced internal rebellions as news of its defeat spread. Conquered species questioned why they should remain under imperial rule when the empire could not even subdue a single human colony. The Corvani Scientific Union offered massive grants to any scientist able to explain human technology. The Trade Federation sent secret diplomatic missions to negotiate access to human markets. Even the enigmatic Voidwalker Collective, rarely engaging with others, sent a formal request to meet human representatives, but perhaps the most significant reaction came from Earth itself. The human homeworld had long struggled with resource shortages and political turmoil. When news arrived that a lost human colony had become one of the galaxy's most formidable powers, celebrations erupted in every major city. The Earth government immediately sent messages to Haven, requesting assistance with their challenges and urgently seeking to reconnect with their long-lost cousins. Back on Haven, Chancellor Santos met with her advisors to plan the next steps. The galaxy was in turmoil, and humanity was at the center of it all. "The situation is developing faster than anticipated," reported Admiral Chen Okafor. "We're tracking over 200 ships from various governments moving toward our system. Some are diplomatic missions, but others appear to be military scout groups." Dr. Walsh looked up from her analysis reports. "Maria, we've proven our point about defensive capabilities, but if we want to be recognized as a galactic power, we need to demonstrate that we can project force beyond our own system." Chancellor Santos nodded thoughtfully. "Admiral, how long would it take to prepare an expedition to visit some of our neighbors? I believe it's time humanity introduces itself properly to the galaxy." 6 months after the confrontation with the Zephyrian fleet, the galaxy had been forced to accept a new reality. The Haven Republic was not merely another human colony. It was a technological and military power capable of standing as an equal to any known civilization. The first diplomatic missions to Haven returned with reports that shattered every assumption about human capabilities. Trade delegations spoke of cities that seemed to grow from living crystal, with buildings responding to the needs of their inhabitants. Military observers described defensive systems that made the galaxy's most advanced fortifications appear as ruins of antiquity. But it was the technology exchanges that truly astonished the galactic powers. Human medical science could regrow entire organs and extend lifespans far beyond what most species thought possible. Their manufacturing processes could produce materials with properties that seemed to defy physics. Most impressive of all, they had created artificial intelligence systems that were truly intelligent, yet entirely loyal to their human creators. Ambassador Feltar of the Altarian Federation stood in the observation lounge of Haven's primary spaceport, gazing at the astonishing sight before him. The planet that his people had once deemed uninhabitable 3 centuries ago was now a thriving garden world sustaining over 200 million humans. Verdant forests blanketed rolling hills that had once been barren impact craters. Clear rivers wound through valleys that had been solid rock. The sky itself had been transformed by an artificial magnetic field, producing stunning auroras each night. "It's hard to believe this is the same world our explorers surveyed," he said to Dr. Elena, Rodriguez, his human guide. Elena smiled, watching children playing in a nearby park. "These are Haven-born humans who've never known scarcity or conflict. They grew up learning advanced science as naturally as children elsewhere learned to walk. My great-great-grandmother was one of the original terraforming engineers," Elena explained. "She always said any world could become paradise if you were willing to work hard enough and wait long enough." "But the technology required," Ambassador Feltar began, "was developed here by humans who had no choice but to innovate or die. When you can't import what you need, you learn to create it yourself." The ambassador paused, contemplating the implications of what he had witnessed. The Altarian Federation prided itself on being the galaxy's most advanced civilization. Yet everything observed on Haven made his people's achievements seem limited and small. In the capital city of New Geneva, Chancellor Santos was meeting with representatives from 12 different governments. The conference room was filled with beings from deal with humanity's sudden rise to power. Chancellor, said Trade Minister Vogran of the Economic Alliance, our corporations are eager to establish manufacturing partnerships with your people. We believe human innovation combined with our distribution networks could benefit everyone. Santos nodded politely. We are certainly interested in mutually beneficial relationships, but let me be clear. We will not be anyone's junior partner. Haven has spent 3 centuries developing its capabilities, and we will not give away the results of that work cheaply. Ambassador Keith Ara of the Zephyrian Empire shifted uncomfortably in her chair. The proud warrior species had been forced to completely reconsider its approach to humanity. Chancellor, the Empire wishes to discuss territorial boundaries. We understand you claim the Kepler 442 system, but what about surrounding areas? We claim what we can defend and what we need for our security, Santos replied. Right now, that includes this system and several uninhabited systems nearby. We have no interest in conquering anyone, but we also will not allow potential enemies to establish bases on our doorstep. The meeting continued for hours, with each representative striving to understand humanity's intentions and capabilities. What they discovered was both reassuring and terrifying. The humans of Haven had no interest in galactic conquest or domination. They simply wished to be left alone to develop their civilization in peace. Yet they made it unmistakably clear that they would defend themselves against any threat, and had the power to do so effectively. Fleet Admiral Chen Okafor held her own meetings with military representatives from across the galaxy. The questions were always the same. How many ships did humanity possess? What were their weapons capable of? How had they developed such advanced technology? The Admiral asked General Morgan of the Federation Defense Force, Our analysts estimate you revealed less than 10% of your true military capabilities during the Zephyrian encounter. Is that correct? Sarah smiled slightly. General, we revealed exactly what we intended. Nothing more, nothing less. But surely you can provide some indication of your actual strength. The galaxy needs to understand what it's dealing with. The galaxy needs to understand that humanity is not a threat to peaceful civilizations. We have no desire to conquer anyone or impose our will on other species, but we also have the power to protect ourselves and our allies from any aggressor. The Admiral's expression became more serious. What the galaxy should truly understand is that humanity has been developing in isolation for 3 centuries. We have had time to solve problems that other civilizations haven't even recognized. Our technology isn't merely advanced, it's fundamentally different from anything you're used to. Meanwhile, on Earth, the human homeworld was experiencing its own transformation. News that a lost human colony had become a galactic power inspired a renaissance of human pride and determination. Dr. James Chen, a descendant of the original, Admiral Chen, who had led the colony ship to safety, addressed the Earth Council with a proposal that could change everything. Honorable Representatives, Haven has offered to share their terraforming technology with Earth. They can restore our damaged environment and provide tools to expand to other worlds, but they ask something in return. Council President Sarah Williams leaned forward. What do they want, Dr. Chen? They want Earth to become a true partner, not a junior member begging for help. They want us to contribute our own innovations and collaborate to spread human civilization throughout the galaxy. The proposal was controversial, but the alternative was clear. Earth could continue struggling alone, or it could join Haven to become part of something greater. Back on Haven, Chancellor Santos stood in her office, gazing at the thriving city below. Admiral Chen Okafor had just delivered her daily security briefing, and the news was encouraging. Maria, we're tracking diplomatic missions from over 30 governments heading our way. The Corvani wish to establish a joint research station. The Trade Federation offers membership with full voting rights. Even the Voidwalkers have sent an ambassador. What about potential threats? Santos asked. The Zephyrian Empire is still dealing with internal rebellions, so they aren't a concern. A few minor powers are making aggressive statements, but nothing we can't manage. Overall, the galaxy is adjusting to our presence better than expected. Chancellor Santos smiled as she watched children playing in the parks below. These young humans would grow up in a galaxy where humanity was respected as equals, where human colonies could be openly established, and where human innovation could address problems that had plagued the galaxy for centuries. Admiral, prepare a message for transmission to all galactic governments. It's time to make our position clear. Hours later, Chancellor Santos's message reached every corner of the galaxy. People of the galaxy, 6 months ago, the Haven Republic emerged from 3 centuries of isolation. We did not ask for your attention, but events forced us to reveal ourselves. Today, I want humanity's position absolutely clear. We are not conquerors. We do not seek to dominate or control other species. We simply wish to exist in peace and contribute to galactic civilization. But we are not weak. We will defend ourselves and our allies against any threat. We possess the technology and determination to protect what we have built. To those wishing friendship, we offer partnership, trade, and mutual assistance. To those wishing enmity, we offer fair warning of what you will face. The galaxy is vast enough for all to prosper. Humanity is ready to take its place among the stars, not as supplicants, but as equals. The message marked the end of one era and the beginning of another. The galaxy had spent centuries believing it understood humanity's place in the cosmic order. The Haven Republic had proven them completely wrong, and this was only the beginning. Human colonies were already planned for dozens of systems. Human technology was beginning to spread to allied civilizations. Human influence was expanding with every passing day. The red star Kepler 442 continued to burn quietly in space, but it was no longer forgotten. It had become the center of a new power that would reshape the galaxy for generations to come.